Mr. Alan Hart, a journalist and writer, is joining us. Mr. Alan Hart, thank you very much for joining us. Is the UK's democracy undermined by police's powers to snoop, as the report suggests?
Huda, I don't think democracy exists anywhere in the Western world. We have the framework of democracy, but not the substance. But that's a different issue. Yes, I have feared for years that we are well on the way to George Orwell's 1984, the police state. But let me tell you, I'm not surprised. I've assumed for years that my telephone is bugged. But there's a fundamental point here which I think has to be made. Once again, the overall cover excuse is security, and principally security against jihadism, violent Islamic fundamentalism. And once again, we have a government dealing with symptoms and not causes. There are three causes to jihadism and violent Islamic fundamentalism. One is American-led foreign policy, in particular its double standard with regard to Israel. The second is the authoritarianism and the repression and the corruption of most Arab and other Muslim governments. And the third is the fact, and I don't mean to be offensive by saying it, that far too many Muslims are unaware of the real message of Islam as it relates to today's world. So, as I say, here we have again a government dealing with symptoms, not causes.
And this report suggests that, or they say that they have a problem with the regulation of Investigatory Powers Act. Do you think they have a chance in possibly amending this act?
Well, if the government is listening, because, I mean, we've even had our own Home Affairs Committee damning it, haven't we? And all the journalists, and with an election coming up, you would think that the government would not actually want to upset the media that much. I mean, if common sense prevailed, Huda, you'd think it would be amended. But I'm afraid we live in a world of politics where common sense is out of the bloody window.
So what do you think this committee that's trying to bring this to light, what further steps could they take or should they take in order to improve or remove this so-called police state in the UK from growing even further?
Well, I think the steps will get worse, and I'll tell you why. All the peoples of all nations, and I mean all nations, have one thing in common. We loathe our politics as they are. We don't trust our politicians, we don't like them, we know the system's broke and needs fixing. So the system is saying to itself, one day the people are going to rise up. They've had enough of it, so we'll make sure we stay ahead of this. I think things in eavesdropping, listening, tapping are only going to get a damn sight worse, Huda.
Mr. Alan Hart, a journalist and writer, much appreciated. Thank you very much for joining us.